Preaching on the yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the one and only Goal Line Goons live on both Big Guy Fantasy Sports and the Rumboyz Fantasy Network YouTube channels, respectfully. I'm RumboyzRobbie. This is my co-host TDS Taco. Taco, how's it going?
Man, we chilling. My son just went there and I got the Knicks on. It's looking good. Trying to snipe some Pokemon cards on eBay. Let's get it.
My homie pulled, I'll have to send it to you, but my homie pulled a massive fucking haul today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize how much.
It's like a $700 card.
Oh, he pulled the Pikachu?
Yeah. You know which one I'm talking about? I think you know which one I'm talking about then.
Yeah, the new one that came out. Bro, it's crazy because I picked up two boxes, right? At like $100 a box. Now they're like $170.
He got his for 40.
Oh, he probably got a small box because I got the 36 booster pack joint, and like his shit is like going up so fast and so hard. I'm like in awe. But yeah, that's another topic for another channel. You know what I mean?
No, hey, I dig it. I mean, we're all about the hustle here at the Goal Line Goons. Speaking of a hustle, you guys are getting ready for your playoff push. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The playoff push is taking place for many of you out there in fantasy football land. So, of course, we have to start off with the injuries. All right. As always, let's go ahead, kick it off. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Injuries heading into week 11. Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Tank Bigsby, Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta. Taco, thoughts on the injury list this week? Luckily, it's not as massive as it's been.
I mean, Kincaid and Laporta have been underperforming for most of the year. So I think this is finally the excuse to kind of get them out of your lineup and force you into starting on the tight end. But I think in most of these scenarios, you're probably just, Aaron Jones was a heavy hitter, but he's kind of a little bit just, I don't know how much I trust him season long with his injury history. And now this injury, it's like, this is why we told you that Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler before, now seemingly Cam Akers is almost a mustache. Same thing with the Packers scenario and all these other older running backs that have a lot of mileage.
Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler, yes, obviously being the handcuff there for Aaron Jones.
Well, I mean, now Akers took over, but we've been preaching keep the handcuff from these teams because these backs are injury prone. You can look a couple of weeks back. We were literally had one episode where the waiver wire ads were almost every single backup, and we said with the bye weeks coming up and with injuries ahead, you need to make sure that you're rostering these guys. And again, Aaron Jones was one of the guys on the list.
We literally had a whole episode called Cuffing Season, preparing you guys at least 2-3 weeks in advance for what was going to happen later in the season. Let's face it, for a lot of leagues, the trade deadline is either dead or is either you have 1 week left.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, with that being said or stated, I mean, Aaron Jones plus Najee Harris, we talked about, kind of having those handcuffs. If you had Najee, you probably weren't rostering Jaylen Warren, but we're going to talk about Jaylen maybe a little bit later. We are going to talk about it a little bit later, so be on the lookout for that segment when we get into the running backs. Tank Bigsby. Told you so. We weren't really – I wasn't really touting him highly. Taco, you were, so I'll kind of let you take it away.
He had a good run for a little bit.
For a game.
No, more than a game. Let's give it that.
He gave you 2 games. He gave you 2 games. Goons, what's good, Leafs? What's good? Yo, what up, Aiden? What's good, baby? Will, what up, dog? What up? He said, go Vols, fuck them dogs.
Daniel,
Daniel, what's up?
I think we got to get a clip of Wilder in there doing Goon Squad.
Oh my, let's knock it off. Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is one of those you were kind of hoping that he could kind of carry you through. The tight end position this year has been underwhelming to say the least. I mean, we could kind of pair Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta in the same breath where it's like, okay, we were getting the points that we could out of them. Playoffs are coming. You're losing those guys. Do you go and do you get their handcuffs, or do you maybe pivot to a different offense, to a different team that may be already somewhat supporting that role? We talked about a couple of weeks being satisfied with maybe just getting away with 8 points from that position and hoping that everyone else can go off on your lineup. I still do believe that that is a philosophy, despite what happened on National Tight Ends Day about 2 weeks ago. So just want to kind of throw that out there in regards to the 2 tight end injuries. Bye weeks. Bye weeks this week. Again, we mentioned last week, over the next 4 weeks, you're going to have 14 teams on bye. Luckily, you got through a couple of those teams last week. This week, you have the Giants, Cardinals, Buccaneers, and Panthers. That means that you are missing the likes of Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors. Let's face it, you aren't playing anyone else on that Giants offense. Sorry, Taco, you guys suck. The Arizona Cardinals.
That's what I wanted.
Bride, you're missing Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe Kyler Murray, James Conner, and the like. So the Arizona Cardinals, you may be missing a couple of flex pieces as where maybe you had a one-way ticket to Deutschland or something or the other, Michael Wilson here or there in deeper formats. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, big fantasy miss this week. You're missing Baker Mayfield. You're missing even some of his, day-by-day flyers that were replacing Godwin and Mike Evans of the sort. But luckily, them being on bye gives you more time to where Evans comes back, and then Evans can be fruitful for your fantasy football team. You are also missing that triple-headed monster in the backfield, more so a double-headed monster in Rashid White and Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker in deeper formats. And then for the Panthers, you're really just missing Chuba Hubbard.
You forgot my favorite new boy, Cade Otton. We missing Otton this week.
Yeah, and missing Cade Otton.
And it's funny because this is the week that we've seen 2 tight ends out. And let's just face it, Otton was a guy that we got off the waiver wire. And in some cases, I already had another tight end. In other cases, he became my lead tight end. So he's going to be a skeleton key, I feel like, for a lot of teams, because
if they're missing a McBride, or they're missing an Otton, you can easily pick up one of the other guys that we're going to talk about later on. We got some stuff cooking for you. I mean, maybe you already have like a Ertz or a Freiermuth on the bench, but I mean, if you don't, we have some stuff cooking in the kitchen for you.
Or hopefully,
so those are your bye weeks. Those are players that you are going to be missing. Ways that you could kind of pivot around that. First, we start off with the quarterbacks. Taco, do you want to start off with the quarterbacks? Man, he's puffing a cigar. He is chilling.
Well, I mean, we got Russell Wilson at 40% rostered, Bo Nix at 51%, Geno Smith at 51%, and Justin Herbert at 49%. I think we've been talking about all 4 of these quarterbacks throughout the year. I mean, I think with Bo Nix, he has a nice rushing upside, but I think the rookiness of him leads to volatility, and in most cases that's very hard to start when you need consistency at one of your leading positions.
But it worked in this scenario, and he went up against a Chiefs team that was monstrous, which we're going to talk about the Chiefs later on.
You're right, but when I look at a guy like Justin Herbert at 49% rostered and him starting to get hot, and with his arm talent and capability plus his ability to rush the ball, I think, to me, he is the guy that I would be looking to add here, as he has a pedigree that gives me a sense of optimism that he could be starting to touch the surface of this offense with his new coach, with some of the pieces that he has. QJ is starting to look like he actually might be a first-round receiver. You got Ladd showing up, so now you got Palmer thrown in there. So he has the 3 guys kind of working. You added Edwards back in to give you a 2-headed running back monster. So I like Herbert. And then when you don't look now, but I was specifically talking about Russell Wilson's not done because he's Mr. Unlimited. And you know what? My man is showing back up saying, yo, don't forget about me. Like, I know y'all was mad when I took over for Fields, but I'm not done. And I think
What
that we can't overlook what a good vet who can throw up 3 TDs in this league right now, when there's not many guys that can go out and throw 3 TDs a game, could do for you. And they added Mike Williams, and he did get a touchdown to Williams, I believe,
what I
this week.
what I want to look at is, at this point, this is kind of the point in the year where you can kind of, you have enough data and you kind of look at matchup dependent, so to speak. Look, Geno against the Geno for the Seattle Seahawks against the San Francisco 49ers in a divisional matchup against that 49ers defense that, yes, Christian McCaffrey had a slow start last week. But I definitely think even calling that a slow start is just wild. 100 yards combined, rushing and receiving. I think that it's only a matter of time before he gets back in, his regular playing shape. I think that was just a nice little dose of what CMC could do. But Geno up against that San Francisco defense makes it a very tough start for me out of those those 4 that are up on the screen, as well as Russell Wilson up against the Baltimore Ravens defense. So I almost lean more so Justin Herbert this week. And then maybe Bo Nix up against Atlanta as a second, Russell Wilson as a third, Geno Smith would probably be a dead last. If I'm going out for a waiver wire priority for a quarterback this week, then that's the way that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Want to get into the running backs here. Running backs is not a whole lot because, like I said, we spent a whole episode titled Cuffing Season. You can really go back and watch that episode, and a lot of that information that's in that episode is still viable today. All right. Alexander Madison, 60% available. Tajay Spears, 45%. Jalen Warren, 60%. You need to be going to get Warren. This is a time in the year where Warren tends to kind of, take charge anyways. So him kind of getting the lead role touches with Najee possibly, maybe missing some time or being on a limited snap count makes Warren even more viable. Audric Estime, 7% rostered. We keep hammering this home. This is going to become a thing. This is going to develop into fruition. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a bigger timeshare, estimate time.
Oh, I've been holding him in SFB for this. Oh, we waiting. We waiting.
Absolutely. Gus Edwards, 20% available. I'm loving that as just kind of that 1-2 punch behind JK. What's happening there in that run game for the Chargers? What's happening for that offense and how that's coming to fruition? Let's remember that Chargers offense, that Chargers team is a team that's in the hunt. They're fighting for a playoff spot underneath Harbaugh, new regime. I like what's going on. And Keaton Mitchell, we just kind of keep putting out Keaton Mitchell because in case shit purposes, it's an insurance policy type of thing. Yes, they have Justice Hill, who is obviously going to be the number 2 behind Derrick Henry should anything ever happen to Derrick Henry. But if something happens to Derrick Henry and I'm not able to get Justice Hill for whatever reason, I need to be going in. I need to be getting Keaton Mitchell. And Gator says, hey, thanks for the invite. I know last night I was busy. Doing a friend a favor. Yes, he was. I appreciate you. But I was available. All jokes aside, smash the like. Thank you, brother. We definitely got to get you to feature on with us for one of these shows. How do you feel about the running backs, Taco?
The Audric Estimate stack, play is something that I've been kind of personally hammering home at. It doesn't cost you much. For a while, you're able to keep him on the IR. We weren't seeing good production from those running backs. We knew that they invested capital in him. We knew that this is a classic case of as the season begins to end, he begins to get work. And as he begins to get work, all of a sudden you look up and say, oh my God, they're giving this guy 60% of the snap share, and he actually has some talent. As I've heard from, many of my analysts, from the commenters, this guy has potential and talent, but he's also now in a situation where he can utilize it and take timeshare, which would be very important. And I think that, I have him in SFB. I have him in my big money team. He's a guy that we even see Sean Payton with the coach speak, saying that he's earning more touches. We know that Jaleel and Williams have not been it all year. I think as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, it's going to be more and more for him. And what that means is as we get deeper and deeper to the playoff push, as we go from, like Robbie says, the playoff push to the championship berth, we got to get these players in there in order to help take you over that hump and get you over that finish line. And this is a guy that right now, well, he's 7%. Before you got to put big fab on him, before you're spending your waiver wire on him, after everyone's at him, because he's 93% available. Let's make a move. Let's get him. Let's stack him at the back end of our roster and save our waiver wire in case someone gets hurt and use it in that situation.
Yep. See, Aiden saying, hey, got 37 fab in the league. Have Javonte all 37 on estimate. Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of getting that insurance policy ready. I mean, because it sounds like Peyton on the record is giving more of a vote of confidence towards estimate. 53 yards last week for estimate. Let's remember that technically speaking, he was the 3 back in this offense. Who is Javonte? About to be a thing of the past. Aiden asked right when we were about to get ready to get into wide receivers, should I trade Adams for Pickens? That's tough, but I'm willing to take that gamble just because the Jets are so fucking lame right now. Like the Jets, like I have no confidence in the Jets. Like even after that game where Garrett Wilson had that one-handed grab and then fucking like Devontae Adams, like we talk about that like that was so long ago. I mean, but do you really have confidence in the Jets? Do you really have confidence in Aaron Rodgers? Like I realistically don't. I mean, they're playing against the Colts. This is probably the final week that you can start Adams. If you're at the trade deadline in week 11, some leagues have it set at week 11. Some leagues have it set at week 12. It usually comes that week of Veterans Day, or either the week after. If you're set at week 11, you're set at week 12. You probably need to move Adams right now. I don't have confidence in him for a playoff stretch. Pickens is more viable to me because Pickens is on a team that's going to be fighting for seeding should they lose any games throughout the rest of the stretch. They got a big win against Washington. That hurt. Crash out clip coming. But yeah. So that's how I feel about that. I don't want Adams on my team right now. Taco, anything? No?
I mean, personally, I probably would do it because you're trading a guy in more of a timeshare for more of a guy that seemingly has the pole or the lead position in that target share. But I mean, as we know, the best laid plans of mice and men. For all we know, Adams and Rodgers can get hot and they can go on like a 5-game TD streak. So you can go either way with this. But for my money, I would go with Pickens because I do think that his target share and his position and role in that offense is much better than Adams. But again, all bullshit can happen. But Pickens to me is the guy.
Yeah, Pickens to me is the guy. That leads us into wide receivers available on the waiver wire. Holy crap. I messed up one of these, as you see. Juwan Jennings.
6R, baby.
Yeah, 6R. It's supposed to say 66.
Get your kicks on Route 66, baby. Boom.
Yeah, that's my bad. I'm just gonna fix that really quick. Live here on the Goal Line Goons. Juwan Jennings, 66% available. Cedric Tillman, 65%. Calvin Austin, 4%. Not really caring about that too much. Noah Brown, 21%. Quentin Johnson, who we just talked about, 45%. MVS, 1% for the Saints. Had a great week last week. Ricky Pearsall, 55%. Mike Williams, 25%. Again, a great week last week. Who sticks out on this page to you the most, Taco?
All right, so the guy that sticks out to me the most is MVS, and the reason why is because he's the only guy available in SFB, and I have 100% of my fab left.
60-man perfect pickup.
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't even know how much I'm supposed to crash out on this guy for, because I mean he's still MVS, but like with the amount of target share available right now, considering the Olave injury and Shaheed, I
That
think
team overall.
yeah, it's just and they're gonna be down in most games, so negative game script. MVS is a home run breaker because he likes to go deep. So it's recipe for you gotta shoot your shot, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is I want to be a bit cautious here because, I mean, look at his history. It's not the best, but at the end of the day, we're trending towards the optimistic approach of the ball has to go somewhere. So I'm conservatively optimistic about the MVS potential, but I want to highlight the Quentin Johnson at 45%.
Quentin
We
Johnson's
were
who I
just
really want to
mentioning
go after.
is with Herbert starting to emerge and Johnson starting to play up. I think that he, to me, might be my number one guy that I'm grabbing, because if those two get hot and I look at the schedule for the rest of the season for them, it's not that terrible, especially as we get into this playoff. And I'm pretty sure they went through their bye already, so you don't have to worry about that. Johnson is a good look for me. I would want to say Jennings, but that offense, now that you have CMC back, is still a lot of
So
mouths to
hold
feed to
on.
hope.
So really quick. So first, yes, obviously, deeper formats, yes, MVS, cool. Already the comments are already talked about that. Quentin
Yep.
Johnson's who I really want everyone to go after with that 45%, kind of availability. If you're scrolling, you see him. I want that to kind of be your claim. Juwan Jennings and Cedric Tillman, to me, I'm not in leagues where I'm able to get them, or either I was already able to get them in leagues. So that's where I'm at with those two. It's either you already have them or you don't. If you are able to get them, obviously, yes, go and get those grabs. But I really do think with the Chargers fighting for playoff contention, the only other person on this list that is a realistic grab over Quentin is Juwan. I like Mike Williams for consideration after what I saw last week, but I'm okay with there's only select players that people can drop, and he's probably going to be around again next week. Noah Brown only has value because of the Hail Mary, but he's also, he's getting pretty steady targets.
Nico is coming back, I believe, this week, right? So that also you have to factor in. He was coming around, but now you add Nico Collins back into the. Oh,
Nico for who? Noah plays for Washington.
I'm sorry, I forgot he got traded.
You fucking up.
Yeah.
How can you forget the Hail Maryland?
Two kids.
Fucking Giants fans, I tell you. Yeah, Jennings should be long gone. If you're able to get him, I mean, kind of grab him. But I really want you guys honing in on Quentin Johnson, Mike Williams alike, MVS in deeper formats. Ricky Pearsall is a guy that we didn't really talk about too much. My man's came back after trying to get robbed for his Rolex and said, "Let me flex." With Ayuk being out, Debo kind of being the main forefront, Kittle, the defense are going to try and take him out. Week in, week out, it's going to be a toss-up between Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. I would love to have either one of them on my bench, ready to go, ready to rock, especially while you're fighting through bye weeks here coming up. Let's get into the tight ends. This first one goes without saying because he had an 85-yard touchdown that was called back. And had that been on the board, this would be the only tight end realistically that we'd probably be giving a fuck about. And that's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, ball has to go somewhere. We talked about that with the Saints. Lord knows what the fuck is happening with this offense, with this team. If you're needing someone to fill in for a McBride, you're not going to go and, you need to fill in. Taysom Hill can be a fill-in for you if you don't already have a backup tight end. More than likely, a lot of you don't have a fucking backup tight end. So this is probably your best play for this week. 35% rostered. He's available for you, more than likely. Will Disley, 4% rostered. He's just getting light work at the passing game. And then Dawson Knox is obvious with Dalton Kincaid going out. No, Knox has not been a thing this year, but this is a familiar target for Josh Allen, a guy that he's used to throwing to. Do I think that those targets are automatically going to vacate to the other receivers? No, I don't think so, especially because they already have jobs they're going to have to do. So I do think that Dawson Knox maybe sees a couple of receptions, maybe 3 to 4 in this upcoming matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, where against this team, he has shown up, before. So I think that Knox could be a very viable play, a good bye week fill-in. Again, that's if you don't have a backup tight end.
Yeah, or if you're, experiencing a bye week blue, because you do have 4 teams on bye, so it makes your decision in a tough position even tougher. This is really just like a roll of the dice. Either way you slice it, all 3 of them. Who do you feel more confident in? And in most cases,
I do want to shout out John. I do want to shout out Jonnu. If Jonnu is available, grab him.
Oh yes, I do agree. Jonnu does have a nice upside, but I probably roll with that Taysom Hill pack because while the other guys can maybe give me some points, Taysom Hill might blow up. Like he just like again 85-yard run that got or 85-yard play that got called back. There's always something with Taysom, and he gets these goal line packages. So it's just that would be my guess. That's where I would go. In most cases, you are much better than Hill, and you're either dealing with an injury or you're dealing with a bot.
Yeah, I would think that in most cases, our viewing base is kind of already prepared for this scenario. So I don't want to hammer it home too crazy. Taco, the Kansas City Chiefs are undefeated. Okay. What were you gonna say? You look like you wanted to say something. They are undefeated. The question is, do the Chiefs three-peat at this point?
I mean, the question is, who's stopping them? And the only team I can think of right now in the AFC that might have a chance is the Buffalo Bills.
And we've seen how that works out. And I think Taco froze. Taco was about to cook. That New York internet got his ass
back. I hit my foot hit something, and all of a sudden I was gone.
Yep. Wait. Yep. You're coming back. You left off at the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm. What?
You good?
Who? You good?
Yep.
I'm good. All right. We lit. All right.
Right. So you left off with the only team that can stop him is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. In the AFC, like as much as we want to talk about LaMarvelous and everything like that, listen, bro, I got to see you in the playoffs. I got to see you be able to throw for that 300-yard versus Patrick Mahomes. And this defense ain't no joke because they were smart. They said Mahomes can make everything happen. Let's make sure we get him the ball as many times as possible so we can make shit happen. And look at the way this defense is playing. They didn't miss that kick. They blocked that kick. That defense is coming hungry. They like Tyrese and Fast and the Furious 2 right now. They hungry. You know what I mean? It's rare that you get a defense that's snapping like this with a quarterback that can make shit happen out of nowhere. And guess what? Pacheco's coming back.
I do think that Lamar with King Henry has something to say. I know that I was on not this exact show last season, but one of our many other shows that we host on the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Putting a vote of confidence. Hold on. Putting a vote of confidence into Baltimore You're going with the Bills. I'm going with Baltimore for my take. Look, you asked who stops them. I think Baltimore does it this year.
And how you know what my problem with Baltimore is? One of the keys that you need in order to beat a team like the Chiefs is time of possession, ball control, right? In order to establish that, you have to run the ball.
Wow, Leafs, whatever, dude.
In most cases, in these playoff games, the Ravens don't run the ball. Last year, they did not run the ball.
Look, we're not.
They ran the ball early and they scored, and then they stopped running the ball.
They didn't have Derrick Henry.
You can have King Henry, but they're going to just feel the Patrick Mahomes aura, and they're going to feel compelled to throw.
Derrick Henry. That changes every.
We're going to play the run. I'm sorry. The Chiefs will play the run, and they'll make Lamar pass. And then, I mean, let's face it. I'm really hoping that we get Lamar versus Josh Allen. So this way, it's like the best of the best gets to face Patrick Mahomes, and we can really have some fun in this playoffs. If the NFL breaks right, we get those two teams.
If the NFL breaks right, it'll be Baltimore. It'll be AFC Championship, Baltimore versus Kansas City again.
I mean, again, this 8-2 Bills team is no joke. Is Lamar going to be able to beat the Steelers?
So therefore, you have to find another New York team to cheer for.
I mean, I don't know if the Steelers are gonna even come second.
I didn't bring the Steelers up.
No, but I'm saying, like, I think the Steelers might be able to get past the Ravens. So we're talking about like all this and that about the Bills, but I don't even think that they're gonna. The Steelers is gonna put in a show for them.
They're not gonna stop sunflower season cardio. Deontay, Baltimore has Keaton Mitchell back. Gonna arrest that massive man and getting ready and angry. Exactly. Derrick Henry is walking into that matchup against the Chiefs off of like fucking 2 shots of Total, just foaming at the mouth, ready to go. All right. So you got Buffalo. I got the Ravens. So we're both saying that the Chiefs do not three-peat.
Oh, I'm definitely saying they three-peat. I'm saying
okay. So you're saying that the Chiefs three-peat.
Yeah.
All right. I'm saying that
the Bills ain't good enough to beat them yet.
I'm saying that they don't. How about the Pats, man? Drake May, come on. Oh, my gosh. We talked about Drake May last week. Every rookie quarterback right now looks better than Caleb Williams. That's straight up. But we're going to get into that.
Did y'all see the meme that they had this week with the Jets and the New England Patriots from The Office, where it's like they both have the same record? Jets, highest expectations ever. Patriots, lowest expectations ever. Both 3-8.
That's right.
It's such a joke.
Vikings, if Darnold doesn't shit the bed, like the game versus Jags. Oof, I know that was rough. Only 8 fantasy points in my big money league. But no, we're not. I was only talking about the Chiefs. We're not even talking about the NFC. Getting over into the NFC. Speaking about the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bears have finally made the decision to move on from offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and in favor of Thomas Brown, who actually used to be Bryce Young's offensive coordinator last year. Is this a step up or step down? Take on the Chicago Bears midway through this season and the firing of Shane Waldron. The firing of Shane Waldron needed to happen. Let's just say that. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah. And is it me or was there like a regression during the season? Like, we were looking at Caleb and that offense. We started going, ooh. And then all of a sudden, we're like, what the fuck are they doing over there? They can't even move the ball. It's become totally inept. And I don't know if it's a player and coach issue or if it was a play calling issue, but a lot of this seems to fall on coaching, in my opinion, because you have so much fucking talent on that team. It's hard for you to tell me that with all that talent, you can't make something work. Like something, like you got a guy like Keenan Allen. I feel like, not even like engaged. Like, how do you not even have like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing about him not like physically declining or whatever, but it's not like he's engaged in this offense. It's not like he's locked in. He's sitting there. We're seeing the clips on the sidelines of how he is during the game and how everything is. So I'm gonna say it, man. They probably need a different voice in that locker room. They probably need a change it up. And honestly, even though it does make sense what they did with Justin Fields and everything of the sort, um, it does look like they made a lateral move. Okay. Even though it looks like there's a lot more passing potential with Caleb, even though I would still make the trade, it doesn't look as good as it should have right now. You
I'm
were you were thinking Caleb would be able to be more astute. He would have more CJ Stroud in him than he would have
no.
some of this what we're seeing.
So we talked about this on this exact podcast previously, a couple episodes ago, when we were talking about Anthony Richardson and tapping out, and then we revisited the topic kind of a little bit later about the development of quarterbacks, and in that conversation we talked about just how hard and how fucking difficult it is to play quarterback in the NFL. All right, and if there's one thing that we have learned, and one thing that we all know, and one thing that any NFL player when you sit down, you got to talk somewhere, you watch their content, or them with other interviewers, that they're all going to say it doesn't matter where the fuck you're drafted at, where you're drafted at. At the end of the day, certain players just adjust to the game at a different time, at a different rate, and at a different speed. Yes, if you're drafted in the first round, is the expectation obviously to be of a certain caliber. Yes, and Caleb Williams' circumstance, it was significantly different because he was the very first draft pick to be surrounded by as much talented skill position players as he was. Here's the problem, what I personally feel. You surround him with skill positions. You did not surround him with players that could keep him upright. You did not surround him with an offensive line that made it viable for him to be able to go out there on a day in and day out basis to go and complete the damn job. At the end of the day, to go and complete the damn job, you did not find ways to keep him upright. Now, is some of that, like you mentioned, Taco, coaching, play calling on Shane Waldron? Yes. But is some of that also his ability to process at this level and being able to, maybe with the play that's being called and being given, to go out there and complete passes and be able to get the ball out in a quick enough time and not hold on to it, or be able to decipher, okay, hey, plays break it down, pass pros break it down. I need to take the fuck off. I need to turn this into a running play. I need to utilize, things that are given to me and options and so on and so forth. And I don't think Caleb necessarily has made the most of that. I don't think that Shane Waldron at the same time has made the most of what Caleb could have been with the personnel that was being given. We already saw during the offseason JSN in a very viral clip when JSN was asked, what can the Bears expect of what they're going to get out of, Shane Waldron, who used to coordinate over there in Seattle. And he was kind of like, granted, he was coming off a rookie season, but he was like, hey, it is what it is. Whatever, you get is what you get, type shit. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot that goes into this. I think they do need to develop an offensive line. I know there's some players in the locker room that stated, okay, maybe, from according to mummerings that are happening within that organization that are leaking out of the organization, which is never good for any football team. Maybe they start Tyson Badgett, moving forward, so Caleb can sit back, watch some plays. But I don't even think that that's great, because I think that that's, like you said, a lateral move. You bring in Thomas Brown to be the offensive coordinator. Bryce Young didn't look great underneath Thomas Brown. Bryce Young looks significantly better right now underneath Canellis, after Canellis sat Bryce and had him watch after Andy Dalton. So there's a lot of different moving pieces as to how this can work out, and how different pieces that are being brought in to help Caleb, or what pieces can be brought in to help Caleb. From a leadership standpoint, they got to tear it all down. It's probably going to take a couple of years before we see Caleb really prosper in the NFL. And maybe middle of next season, heading into his third year. But it looks pretty tough right now.
Yeah, and I think he's shown some nice flashes. I think he has a solid skill set. But I do think that there was a lot of unnecessary drama because of the way he carries himself that I think didn't help him in this offseason prepare for football properly. because he seems like he's a very smart kid. And he seems like he knows the game really well. But right now he's not making the necessary adjustments, and that's a
Not for a
problem.
number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Getsy, Waldron, Fries in the bag. I'm dead. Shane Hitler dead.
But again, it's a process. So, I'm not saying he's a bust yet. He is just in
Aiden, really quick to this comment. Eberflus is still employed, a neutral step to the side. I think that this is a step towards them getting ready to fire Eberflus, because then it's like, okay, you haven't been able to get it done. You have some players across the league that like Eberflus. You have some commentators and some personalities that like Eberflus. Me personally, I don't. I think that it's time that they move on. I don't think that DJ Moore's even going to want to be there. I think that he's going to be like, fuck that, eat this money. I'm out of here. Moore misses Fields now. Caleb regressing. Moore was already on record that he was supposed to be coming into this thinking that it was going to be Justin Fields, that there was a chance that they were still going to keep Justin Fields. So he's not happy. Rel, what up? What up? What up? Najee Harris or BTJ week 11. Things are going to depend on how Najee develops throughout practice. He is on a little bit of the injury report. I've heard that he's fine. He's just going to bounce back. But should he not, then you have to start BTJ. If he is healthy, then you do have to start him.
I mean, who's the quarterback over there again? Are we still starting Macaroni
Mac
and
Jones?
cheese?
Yeah, they're still starting Mac Jones.
I don't know, man. That might be a ticking time bomb right there. Like, do we trust Mac Jones at all?
No, we don't trust the Jags at all.
Buyer beware.
Yeah, that I don't know why you even try to go into like some like deep methodical take. Caleb
Trevor just left.
Caleb best creating his own in college. Read this comment really quick while I come right back.
Yeah, so it says Caleb was best creating on his own in college out of structure compared to Mahomes. The Bears told the motherfucker, you can't leave structure. You're a pocket passer now. Now, that's completely asinine if they did that, because that doesn't make sense when you draft a guy that has that kind of potential. You can't say that when I draft him, I'm going to turn him into this, because that goes against his natural style of play. Now, I can understand coaching some things in, but this seems a bit awkward when you consider the evolution of the position and his skill set.
So this conversation and the firing of Shane Waldron brings us to what we've already encompassed over the course of like the last like 2 episodes. One, kind of with Washington up against Chicago, and then after that, when it kind of kept progressing and the narratives kept progressing. Like we mentioned and like we talked about, those other teams, they played towards those guys' strengths. Denver played towards Bo's strengths. New England played towards Drake May's strengths. Washington played towards Jaden Daniels' strengths. I'm sorry, but you have yet to do that, Chicago. Maybe he's a Zesty Fester. Oh my gosh. I got a kicker, Aubrey for Dicker. I'm probably gonna play Dicker, because at this point, the Cowboys aren't putting up enough points where Brandon Aubrey can realistically, like, the Cowboys put up 6 against Philly.
I'm not gonna lie. After that game where Dicker went off and like carried my team to like a victory one week, it's very hard for me to cut him. Full well knowing that this is a team that does, have the ability to move the ball but not score. So I like it.
Yeah. Doug Peterson's not the smartest motherfucker in the NFL. He's definitely going to be ejected out of the hot seat. Speaking of hot seat, we move on. Dead in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys lose quarterback Dak Prescott to season-ending injury. Okay, he is going to be getting a surgery. Start off as a hamstring injury. Hamstring injury. Sound like, things got a little bit worse. Fantasy managers need to know trade CD or hold stock, because he'll get force-fed. You got 1 week to trade. I'm getting rid of fucking CD. I'm not trusting I'm not trusting Cooper Rush or Trey Lance to be accurate enough to get him the ball repetitively enough.
This is like Garrett Wilson last year. You know what I mean? Really good receiver, but it's a quarterback situation that's so shitty that he has to perform ungodly acts in order for him to hit his numbers. And you'll never be able to bench him because of who he is. So I'd say more than likely, if you're able to finesse a move right now for your confidence sake, yes, I would do that. But more than likely, you won't get enough return on your investment to pull the
No.
trigger.
No.
So
Like,
it's gonna be tough.
you might this late in the season be able to fool someone with name value. But I mean, name value is not going to be a good enough trick to fool someone into a trade. It's not going to work on, it
Listen,
may work on
Robbie.
like the super casual. Like if you got the casual in your league that's holding on to a playoff spot right now, you're sitting on the outside, on the outskirts, and you got fucking CD Lamb. And like, that guy doesn't really know football and you could take advantage of the situation. Yeah, sure. Name value might be able to get away with it, but
Listen, Robbie. You know how this works. Go get a motherfucker a beer. You sit in the bar, shoot a little shit.
let me
You
get
like,
Darnell
yo,
Mooney.
man,
I'll give you CD Lamb. Let me get Darnell. I'll give you
I'll take
CD.
care of you, bro. Like,
Tabs
just
on
don't wait.
me.
Just I, I won't squirm when you put the trade in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at this point, I mean, get what you can. I mean, you might be even, with how underwhelming kind of Tyreek looked a little, you might be able to get away with something like that. I'm listening to all offers. People are frustrated with sunflower seeds, flowers. You might be able to get away with something like that. Like that Green Bay passing game is so volatile, maybe, possibly. Like people will be like, oh, it's CD Lamb. I mean, I do believe that there is a crowd out there still that is like, that's CD Lamb.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I'll say this. Jerry Jones went all in with a pair of twos, not even a pair of twos this year. Like, oh God. And he didn't want to spend money on nothing because he knew what time it was. He's like,
right.
this team sucks.
Jerry Tank for Gency, fucking for real, Brev. Like, for real. Like,
Oh, man.
and even still, they need to retool that offensive line. How do we feel about Andrews, Mark Andrews? I feel like Andrews is startable. I mean, the tight end position isn't really one to where you can pick and choose right now. You can't really be choosy. I feel like he's back and you can start him.
I'm gonna be honest here, and we can talk about it. But a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of floating Andrews, and everyone's like, "Ew, he's trying to pass over the leftovers."
Oh, the
And
Panic versus Patience episode? Yeah.
slowly but surely, Andrews is on a roll now. He's had a couple of
Yeah.
really good weeks. And personally, and we know that he started the year. I think he was in a car accident. There was something that happened.
Yeah, he had a car accident and
Yeah.
he
And
the
then
season.
all of a sudden he started super slow. For all we know, he could have been hurt. And they're like, all right, yo, we'll keep you on the DL.
No,
We
I
ain't
mean,
gonna
well,
really.
I said that at the beginning of the season. I'm like, they're gonna ease him in. They're not gonna, they're gonna need him for the
So
playoff.
what we're seeing right now out of Andrews, like if you're talking about a guy that you can maybe buy low on in this kind of scenario for the end of the season, because maybe LaMarvelous and his number one targets still keep it rolling, and we know that he gets end zone and red zone targets. Yeah, I like
My
Andrews.
overall outlook with tight
I'm
ends
more
still.
bullish on Andrews than most of your analysts. I'll say that.
My overall outlook with tight ends just in general is be okay with an 8-point floor. If I
And
can
that's
get
the other
8-point
thing
floor,
about this.
I'm
It's the
okay.
fucking tight end position, and we know his history. We know that at the end of the day, shit fucking evens out. Andrews might be in store for a historic, end of the season, or at least in comparison to what we're seeing at the tight end position, which is between dog shit and fucking dried up turds.
Exactly. Just be comfortable with a safe floor, and if you can get a guy that can go boom but have a safe floor, you're solid. That's the best advice there. If I could get Garrett Wilson for Pollard and Downs, would you make that trade? I would. I would, even though I'm fading the Jets offense more times than not. That's what I'm okay with. Eventually, the Jets, the later in the season it gets when it's completely just out of reach, they are going to start sitting everyone. So
But
that's
do they
something to
sit
try to-
Wilson? That's gonna hurt. Like, oh my god, I hope they don't.
Wilson at that point is just going to be playing for game checks. So that's something that you have to worry
And
about with
fantasy
fantasy
managers,
football.
game checks, and fantasy managers.
Exactly, right? Wilson's not giving a fuck about y'all. He's caring about his game checks. And
And we care about him caring about his game checks. Go get your money, boy.
in order for him to collect a game check, he just has to line up.
Well,
He
listen,
doesn't
man.
have
You
to.
know,
In
you
order for
want to
him
make sure he get ready for his next contract. So you got to put up numbers, right? Next contract, shit. Next contract.
he's kind of already earned that.
Fuck
He's
you.
gonna-
Stop taking away my hope.
I mean, I'm just keeping
I'm
it
trying to
real.
glass half full shit, and you're like, well.
I mean, okay, glass half full. Aaron Rodgers is the type of quarterback to be like, let's still prove that we can do something next year when I'm
That's
still
the
going to
shit
be
we
dog
want
shit
to hear,
home.
baby. That's the shit we want to hear. He's
but-
like, before I go on my DMT ayahuasca retreat, I will make sure I throw you a couple of touchdown passes.
Pretty much. I mean, with that trade, you're pretty much asking for the lesser two evils. It's essentially Wilson for Pollard. I mean, Downs, the Colts. No one has faith at this point.
I actually
Like,
have one question for you before we move this Dallas topic.
Mm.
Did you see the comments that Micah Parsons made about Mike McCarthy?
Yeah.
And then did you see the ESPN the Jets offensive lineman who was making the commentary backwards saying, how could you what is your take on that before we go really quick?
Look, they're a mess. They're a fucking mess. Win, lose, draw, whatever the case, you kind of don't really want to be tossing your coach underneath the bus. To say that Mike McCarthy hasn't accomplished anything is fucking asinine. That's crazy. This is a man that knows football and has been around football way longer than you. You run a podcast in your part-time of playing to where you say the most delusional shit, take in and take out, to where people that are like you and I are kind of sounding a little bit more bright than Micah Parsons. There's two sides to every story, and I feel like that when every time Micah Parsons speaks, there is his delusional Cowboys side. And then there's we can see what the fuck is happening, bro. Does Mike McCarthy maybe deserve to be out of the building? Yes. Sure. Mike McCarthy's not completely to blame. Jerry, you've kept the same version of the same team year in. It hasn't changed since Romo. It's the same personnel, all the same shit.
And like
it's the same philosophies. It's the same identity.
The offensive line was something that was all homegrown. And now when you look at that offensive line, it's a shell of itself. And that was what carried that whole team.
Exactly. It's bro, you did this.
And they aged, and between aging and contracts, this was a position that you needed to continually replenish. It is like you rested on your laurels and you spent all the money on these, fancy position players. But at the end of the day, the core of your team was your offensive line and your defensive line.
Yeah, see this one. The players are blaming the stadium for letting the sun in. Bro, every player
that's
has
also
had
a stupid thing that he does.
Yeah, every player has. No, don't get me wrong. It's dumb as fuck for an architect to not think about that, and for Jerry to not think about that.
Yeah.
But bro, let's be honest. So you mean to tell me the other team was able to fucking catch in the sun? Because when a game starts, you're kicking one way, you're going in. Everyone deals with it. Other teams march into your fucking building, and they're doing the thing that you should be doing against you.
Why don't you practice with that during the week? Why don't you go in the stadium during the week?
Exactly.
And practice
If you know this is something you're going to be
right.
You have teams that during the dead heats or in the dog days of summer that are training with water hoses on how to secure the ball. I think Jerry cares about the team and the fans, but he's stubborn and has an ego. Not having a GM is crazy. Oh yeah,
he can't believe they're that bad. Like the Democrats can't believe they just got destroyed. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like two sides of the same coin.
Let's go ahead. We are going to shameless plug. Shameless plug. We are doing a IRL live action play-by-play live at Luchow's at Fountain here in Colorado. In Fountain, Colorado. It's still kind of technically Colorado Springs. Super excited. So Commanders versus Eagles, Week 11 NFC East battle. I'm sorry, Taco, your Giants are out of it. The Cowboys are out of it.
Love it.
So we're down to talking about these two teams. Give us your pick live on air. Washington got robbed last week, so we know they're going to come back with a vengeance.
All right, so you know what I'm going to go with?
You wish they could both lose. You can't. Don't worry about your Saquon Barkley jersey.
That's where I'm going, baby. We going Saquon Barkley. I'm not going Commanders. I'm not going Eagles. I'm going Saquon Barkley.
Fuck you.
Like I don't know.
No,
man.
you have to make a pick. You got to make a pick though.
I personally, as great as the Commanders have been, taking the Eagles.
Number one scoring offense in the league, bro.
I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay. All right. You already know what the fuck it is. I'm rocking with the Commanders. Yo, shop GLD. Like, let's go. Let's go. Like, come on. Like, this is gonna be a challenge. We should have gotten that win last week. Crash out video getting posted on social media. Probably tomorrow morning, tonight. So be on the lookout for that. Complete and total bullshit. It was the first down. Newton did jump off sides, but I'm happy that the bros, the team was a team, and we stuck together, and seeing the guys kind of pick him up even after that mistake and how he handled that, and knowing that it's not going to be a career-defining play. It's okay. It's okay. Mistakes happen. He's a rookie. So there's that. But IRL stream is going down. And then the following night, you guys get Tyson versus Paul IRL. So, like, I'm spoiling you guys with the content this week. And then tomorrow, I'm dropping content like a madman.
I'm about to start watching some more of the shit talk between Paul and Mike, just because I'm actually enjoying that shit.
It is wildly low key.
I mean, they listen. They picked the perfect guy to be talking.
No, they really did. Let's do pick one, trade one, drop one. So pick up one, trade one, drop one. I have my drop one ready.
Okay, so this is easy. We're gonna drop Troy Franklin. Okay,
really? He's not on my list. Yeah,
so he's had a couple of weeks where he's been a little bit more inconsistent, and I think we can kind of.
Would you
say
rather
that maybe that might happen a little later?
Would you rather keep Troy Franklin? Hold on. Would you rather keep Troy Franklin or Jalen Tolbert?
I'd rather keep Jalen Tolbert.
Would you rather keep Troy Franklin or Deontay Johnson? I'm keeping Troy Franklin in that essence. If I have Deontay Johnson, I can pick up Troy Franklin. I'm gonna drop Deontay.
I have to hope that with the trade for Johnson that they saw that they could do more with him, but
I don't believe it.
Yeah, no. Pick up one. I'm riding with my boy that we talked about running backs. Estimate, baby. It's time. Let's start making that move. Let's get him right now. 5% rostered, +2 in the last week.
He's 7 right now. He was 7 as of yesterday when I wrote.
I'm looking at Yahoo.
He's 9% right now. Yeah.
So get him now before this blows up, and you have to spend waiver wire and cash. And then trade one. If I can trade one, um, hmm, you know, for the love of God, if I could move off, and I think I maybe mentioned it last week, but I'm gonna bring it back home this week. If I can get off of Kareem Hunt now, do it now because they just
Now.
said some stuff about Pacheco. The window is starting to open before
Yo,
they get word. Get yourself and get out. The block is hot.
the
They
block
coming
is
for the
not. The
spot.
block is not.
Get out now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go, go, go.
For me, my trade one, I actually don't necessarily have a trade one right now. It's super difficult for trade talks, and in most of my leagues, trade talks have closed. I've made all the trades that I can. So I actually don't have a trade one for you guys.
I got another one if you want.
I like obviously, kind of like I mentioned, helping you guys out with trade talks. If I can acquire George Pickens, I'm going to. Right now, you're really just trying to acquire depth pieces. You're really trying to get pieces that are ready to be on your bench. If I can acquire Khalil Shakir, I'm down for it. My drop one though for me is I'm ready for you guys to move off the Caleb Williams train. Go ahead, drop Caleb Williams if you have him. 64% of you guys have Caleb Williams. You can go ahead and you can get rid of Caleb Williams. And my pick up one for me is going to be Quentin Johnson. I want you guys going out there getting Quentin Johnson, a guy that we doubted. We talked about the body catches. Now I think it's time for us to go ahead and entertain Quentin Johnson. And then for our final topic of the night, biggest overreaction from or I'm sorry, for week 9 and our bold take for week 10. I didn't adjust this one here. So our biggest overreaction from week 10, I'm sorry. And then our overreaction for week 11. Taco, you got yours ready?
Yes.
Yes. Why'd you do that face? What the
Because
fuck?
here we go, baby. My biggest overreaction is maybe the Commanders ain't as good as we think they are. How about that?
Wow. Because we lost by one fucking point over
And you should have
bullshit.
lost the other one before the fucking Hail
Wow.
Mary.
Wow. What a
So
hater. All right. Whatever.
let's
Okay.
also say my bold take is that the Eagles fly, baby, fly, and Saquon Barkley runs all over you guys, and they win.
Okay. All righty. Hold on. Aiden saying, stating you got Rob. Dijon, let's go. Weekend is hottie. Yes, it is. He's a corner who will lock down your number one. Wow, whatever. You're overhyping Dijon way too crazy, dude. Tyson looks scary in open workout, quick and powerful. Yep, you mentioned that earlier. Drop Deontay Johnson and Rico. You could definitely drop both of those. Estimate, crash out. Yeah, the crash out video is coming. Cowboys win Battle of Texas. Yeah, that's an overreaction for damn sure. My biggest overreaction for the week. My biggest overreaction is, look, the Vikings don't suck. There's no need for us to get down on Sam Darnold. All right, they can steal ball. Every team runs into a buzzsaw every once in a while. At least Minnesota got it done and over with early enough. All right, but shout out to the Jaguars. You guys look decent during that game. My bold take for week 11. All right, my bold take for week 11. Obviously, yes, I can go on a rant about the Commanders and how we're going to win Thursday night football, but the Falcons are going to continue. The Falcons are for real. The Falcons are serious. This team can go out there, knock out, drag out, draw a bloodbath with the rest of the best of them. They are facing the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favorite on the money line. They are favorite on the spread. I'm expecting a big day from Darnell Mooney. I think we are going to go Mooney Tunes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mooney Tunes. I'm calling it right here, right now. All righty. Yep. Hey, swag, serve. Swag, did not serve. I'm on hypnotic, exotic, and follow on my body. Taco, any closing words that you
Swagging.
have
We
before we get
surfing.
out?
The East Coast remix, baby. That's where we at. Let's go. Where'd you out?
Any closing words? Anything that you want to throw out there?
I want to say, by the grace of the Lord, my kids are finally starting to sleep better, and it's starting to like slowly happen. And I'm starting to turn around and look and say, am I starting to actually have my nights back a little bit? So we're getting there, boys. It's gonna be a good season. We're gonna have a good playoffs. Bets are gonna be back because I need new Pokemon investing money.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. I'm dead. I have a lot of new projects coming out. Colorado Chaos, the podcast. Be sure to check that out. You guys can look that up on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere, everywhere, Facebook, like everywhere. Be on the lookout for that project. IRL streams coming. We got Thursday Night Football. We do have IRL Friday coming for Tyson versus Paul. Tomorrow night, AMA session. All right, AMA. I'm gonna be on doing AMA tomorrow on TikTok throughout the day, and then I'll also be doing an AMA here on YouTube and Twitch on the Rumboyz channel. So make sure that you guys pull up, you check it out, you show some love. We'll go ahead and we'll get you taken care of. I'm RumboyzRobbie. That's TDS Taco. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. Shout out to the Goal Line Goons. Make sure you check out Big Guy Fantasy Sports. Check out the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. We love you and appreciate you. Dilly dilly. Thank you, Bob, for allowing us to host. Arrgh.
Preaching on the, yeah.